guys, it's Becca. So, I wanted to start off this video by telling you the truth. I lied to you. You cannot get straight A's without any effort. If you actually believe this title, maybe there's no hope for you. Click off this video now. I'm joking. If you believe the title of this video, I'm not calling you dumb, I promise. If you just sit about watching Netflix and then you expect to get straight A stars, it's not gonna happen. Sorry to break it to you. But you can get straight A's with very minimal effort, and in today's video, I am going to tell you exactly how. I would also like to note that this is just what worked for me. These are all my opinions. It's all just me stating what I did and how that worked out for me. It may not work out for you because everybody is super different, and what works for one person might not work for another. I might hate something that you really love and you think helps you a ton, and of course keep on doing that if that works for you. I also want to preface this video saying that this is the one and only video I will ever make on this topic of studying and revision. Ever since I posted that one video of my GCSE grades, my Instagram DMs have just been flooded with students being like, please give me study advice. I need to survive school. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I was like, should I be even making this video? Because you don't want to give away the tricks of the trade, you know? But then I was like, I talk about this so freely in my Instagram DMs, whoever asks me, I just reply to. It's just gonna be so much more efficient if I just make a video about it and people stop asking me. I might as well just make the video. So now I am just gonna put it all out there. So first, let's talk about notes. This is always the first piece of advice I give anyone who asks me about studying, and it always shocks the hell out of everybody I tell it to, but throw away your notes. Discard of them. They are useless to you, you don't need them. My GCSE science teacher, who had a PhD by the way, so you know he's the real deal, he actually agreed with me on this one. So that's something, you know? So let me explain this just a little bit, just my thinking process and why I do this, so that you understand why I think this. So learning something, to me at least, is about repeating it, going over it again if you don't know it, and just like hammering it into your brain. And so many people that I know are obsessed with making really pretty, aesthetically pleasing notes. So to me, that's a fucking waste of time. When you spend so much time stressing about how beautiful your notes are, you are reducing the time that you have to actually revise. So making really beautiful and pretty notes is really satisfying and also takes a really long time. So a lot of people who do this actually think that they are doing a lot of work and putting in a lot of effort, but then it doesn't pay off and they get bad grades, and then they complain about getting bad grades. They're really not doing anything, they're not learning. So learning to me is something that is chaotic, it's messy, it is not something that should be perfect. My advice to you is allow yourself that chaos and that messiness, because let's be real, you do not have time to be perfect. This is how to get good grades with minimal effort. Emphasis on minimal. Is how to get woo. Another thing is, why would you spend all of that time making notes when you can find notes online and in textbooks? A, it ensures that nothing in your syllabus is ever missed out because it's a published textbook or a published source, and B, it means that you don't have to waste time making notes. Let me tell you this, and I am being 100% serious when I tell you this. For my GCSE science exams, so chemistry, bio, physics, all I ever revised from, all I ever used for notes were the CGP study guides. When I told people this, they treated me like I was insane for thinking that that was going to be enough of a source to learn from, and they just thought I was lazy for not making my own notes. And don't mean to brag, but I got 9s in all 3, so yes, it was enough to study from, actually. The next thing I want to talk about is past papers, and most importantly, the mark schemes. I cannot stress the importance of this enough. Let me preface this with a little anecdotal story. For my computer science AS, pretty much all I ever studied from was mark schemes. I think I glanced through some online notes for the course for about an hour, and then all the rest of my revision was past papers and mark schemes. And let me tell you, I cannot practically do computer science to save my life. And I'm not saying this to brag or to show off, I'm saying this to prove a point. I ended up getting the highest computer science grade in all of Hong Kong. I mean, to be fair, only 3 schools in Hong Kong do offer computer science at A level, but let's not talk about that. So the point of this is I mainly use past papers and mark schemes to revise, and let me tell you why. An important part of learning is testing your knowledge. Past papers, surprisingly enough, are perfect for this. Also, exam boards, they are not testing your ability to learn. They are testing your ability to take in information and then regurgitate it and apply it. So if you have to do that, why not take it straight from the source and learn exactly what they are looking for? Also, you have a syllabus. There are only so many questions one exam board can ask you about that syllabus, which means eventually they run out of questions and they start repeating questions, and you notice, hey, these questions are getting kind of similar. That is because they are similar. They are exactly the same sometimes. So I would actually recommend going through a bunch of past papers and just finding patterns in them, i.e. find which questions they ask all the time and just memorize the mark scheme for them. Even if you don't want to do that, what I just recommended, memorizing the mark schemes, then you should at least look through a few mark schemes because it'll give you an idea as to how you should structure your answers and also keywords that they look for. So the exact way that I revise is this. I print out a past paper, I do the past paper, I mark the past paper. Then I'll go through what I've done and I'll see any of the questions that I've gotten wrong. And I will look through the mark scheme, read through the mark scheme of that question, and I will get a scrap piece of paper afterwards, after I've looked through all the mark schemes of the questions that I got wrong, and I'll draw like a spider diagram or a list and see how much of it I can remember, and I'll check that against the mark scheme again to see that I got it all right, and then I'll keep that somewhere and later I'll review it again to make sure that what I didn't know before is stuck in my brain. Take a shot for every single time that I said mark scheme in that block of words. So down in the description below, I will leave some of my favorite resources that I used to pass my GCSEs and that I'm currently using to pass my A-levels, and if you feel like it, you can go check that out. So the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about are just miscellaneous tips, bits and bobs that are significant enough that I feel that I should talk about them, but they aren't big enough to deserve their own category in this video. Tip number 1 is download an app called Forest. It does cost money. I'm sorry. This was originally shown to me about 3-ish years ago by my friend Liz, so shout out to you, she's a real OG. You might actually recognize her if you are one hell of a dedicated subscriber and you've watched one of the oldest videos currently up on my channel, which is like a vegan mukbang, and that was with her. You can tell it's old because I was still vegan. Basically, what this app does is it gives you a little timer. You set the timer for up to 2 hours and minimum 10 minutes, and you plant a little tree, a little plant, and as you work, it grows. And if you exit the app and go into any other app, the tree dies. I guess this app really only works on overly empathetic people, which I guess I must be because I care a lot about not murdering my virtual trees. If, like me, you're really struggling with focusing on your work and you're kind of addicted to your phone and you always want to check social media and stuff like that, then I totally just recommend spending the money, get the app, just do it. It'll be good for you, I promise. Tip number 2 is do not overwork yourself. There is a certain point when you've been working that you reach where you have just done too much work for your brain and your body to handle. And when you are at this point, you're tired and the quality of your work just starts to decline, and honestly, you might as well just do a shorter amount of good quality work than a longer amount of just shitty, crappy work. If you feel yourself getting exhausted. And I don't just mean physically, I mean mentally, I mean emotionally. I mean if you're hungry, if you're tired, if you are not fulfilling any of your Maslow's hierarchy of needs, take a break. Or if you're really tired, just stop working for the day. Just stop. I have seen videos on YouTube of people doing like study with me vlogs, and they can study for like 12 to 14 hours. Girl, like obviously that works for them and they should continue doing that because that works out really well for them and they aren't getting, you know, so exhausted that they feel like they can't work anymore. But if I did that, boy, that would be so unhealthy. I think the most hours of work I have ever done in a day of study leave is probably about 7 hours. On average, I think I did maybe 3 or 4 hours of work a day on study leave. If you do just want to take a break from your work and you don't want to quit for the day, I recommend actually not going on your phone and like checking Instagram or social media or turning on a Netflix show, because that is a continuous stream of media. It does not stop. And once you start looking through it, you will not want to stop looking through it because, let's be real, work, not so fun. Looking through Instagram, a bit more fun. Tip number 3, which is my last piece of advice for this video, is find your motivator. And I do not mean like, if I study these 10 pages, then I can go eat a chocolate bar, which I guess works for some people. Actually, it works for a lot of people. I know it does. It does not work for me, because let me tell you something. I am a fat ass living in a normal sized person's body. I would just eat all the chocolate at once and not wait until I studied the 10 pages. But what I'm referring to is, think about why you're doing what you're doing, why you want to revise, and what is your long-term goal. For my GCSEs, my main 3 motivators were: 1, the fact that it would all be over soon. I could not wait for GCSEs to end. I was actually so excited to start my A-levels because it meant that I could stop studying stuff like English and Spanish and everything that I just hated. Number 2 was me desperately wanting to not resit any of my exams. I knew that if I did badly on any of my exams, I would feel the need to resit. GCSEs were a phase of my life that I was ready to push out of the nest, regardless of whether or not it could fly yet. I just wanted to be happy and lastly, I just wanted to be happy on my results day. So that is all of my studying advice condensed into one video. And yes, getting good grades really is that simple. I should also note, maybe this video is a little bit preemptive. I still have not sat any of my A-levels, and while I am filming this right now, today is the 5th day of school being cancelled because of the civil unrest situation in Hong Kong, which is no bueno. So if in about 10 months I am no longer a straight A or A-star student, you know why, and also just throw all of my advice out the window, I guess. Like, this video has taken so long to record because I just have so much to say about this topic and I don't know how to collect my thoughts properly. You may have noticed the lighting get progressively darker as the sun goes down outside. Yeah, that's how long it's taken. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video and sitting through me babbling on about exams. I know this video is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, so if it isn't, I'm so sorry. Please just check back in next week. You can like this video if you liked it. If you like, it does really help me out with the algorithm, and also it gives me a little ego boost. I'm not gonna lie. You can also leave a comment down below if you hated my study tips. You can tell me that. If you have any extra study tips that you think might help other people out or might help me out, please leave them down below. You can also subscribe. Just a suggestion, you know? And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it is linked down below in the description. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Don't try.